3 weeks. That was how long it had been since the funeral. 3 weeks since I stood in that cemetery, watching them lower my wife of 11 years into the ground. Everyone kept telling me it would get easier with time. They were wrong. I was not at the storage unit to find closure. I was there because the rental company had sent me a final notice. Past due. Funny how bills don't stop just because your world does. I had not even known Rebecca had rented this place. I found the key in her desk drawer while sorting through paperwork. It was tucked inside an envelope marked, "Personal, do not open." I should have listened to that warning. The unit was in a facility 20 minutes outside town. Not the kind of place you would expect from someone making executive-level income. It was basic and cheap. The kind of place people use when they don't want anyone asking questions. I punched in the code the manager gave me. The metal door rolled up with a screech that echoed through the empty corridor. Inside were boxes. Dozens of them, stacked neatly against the back wall. I grabbed the closest one and tore it open. Photo albums I had never seen before. Cards from birthdays I was not at. Receipts from restaurants we never went to together. My hands started shaking. Not from grief. From recognition. I knew what this was before I found the proof. The thumb drive was in a small wooden box. The kind you would buy at a craft fair. It sat right on top like it was waiting for me. A yellow sticky note was attached to it. An unforgettable night was written in Rebecca's handwriting. Cute. Romantic. Made me want to throw up. I sat down on the concrete floor right there in that storage unit. I pulled out my phone and plugged in the drive. It had a dozen video files. I clicked the first one. Hotel room. Decent place. King-size bed. And there was my wife with Marcus Chen. Marcus, the guy I had known for 8 years. The guy who came to our house for barbecues. The guy who cried at Rebecca's funeral and hugged me like he had lost a sister. I watched 3 minutes before I had to stop. Not because I could not handle it. Because I needed to stay functional. I checked the dates on the other files. The oldest was from 3 years ago. 3 years. I had been building a company and providing for us. Trusting her. While she was doing this. The locations got worse. Our office conference room after hours. Marcus's house, obviously. Then our garage. The one attached to our house where my car was parked on the other side of the wall. I must have been inside watching television while they were out there. The thought made my jaw clench so hard I thought my teeth would crack. I went through every box after that. Methodically. Like I was conducting an audit. Because that is what this was now. An audit of a failed marriage. More photos. More receipts. A burner phone with messages that made my stomach turn. She had documented everything. Why? Insurance. Sentimentality. It did not matter now. By the time I finished, 4 hours had passed. The sun was setting. I loaded everything into my truck. I paid the final bill to the storage company in cash. Then I drove home in complete silence. No music. No podcast. Just the sound of tires on asphalt and my own breathing. At home, I sat at the kitchen table. The same table where Rebecca and I used to have coffee every morning. Where we had planned our future. Where she had kissed me goodbye the morning she died. I opened my laptop and went through the company's corporate structure documents. Something I should have checked more carefully years ago. 71%. I owned 71% of the company shares. Rebecca had 29%. We had structured it that way at founding because I had put in the initial capital. She had come in as a partner later. Marcus was an employee. Vice President of Operations. Good salary. Benefits. Profit sharing. But no equity. No ownership. He was talented, sure. But he was not a founder. So why was he acting like he owned the place? I had been so buried in grief these past few weeks that I had not been to the office. Had not checked email. Had not returned calls. I had let everything slide because I was supposedly mourning. Turns out that was exactly what someone was counting on. I pulled up my email. 73 unread messages. Most were condolences. Some were from clients. But there were 5 from Marcus. The subject lines got progressively more aggressive. Need to discuss company direction. Urgent board meeting scheduled. Important changes coming. Your presence requested but not required. The last one was sent yesterday. Transition complete. We should talk. Transition complete. Interesting choice of words. I drafted a response. Deleted it. Drafted another. Deleted that too. No. Email was not the play here. I needed to see what Marcus had done. Needed to understand the full scope before I made any moves. In chess, you don't capture the queen until you have locked down the king. I spent the rest of the night going through company files remotely. Marcus had been busy. Very busy. He had moved into the CEO office. My wife's old office. He had terminated 2 long-time employees and hired 3 new ones. All people he knew from his previous job. He had opened a new corporate account. Started 3 new vendor contracts without board approval. And he had scheduled a meeting with our biggest client for next week. He was building something. Or rather, taking something. He thought the throne was empty. Thought he could just sit down and declare himself king. The funeral flashed through my mind. Marcus standing there in his expensive black suit. That speech he gave about Rebecca's vision for the company. About carrying on her legacy. About making sure her work was not forgotten. Everyone thought it was beautiful. I thought it was a job application. Now it made sense. All of it. The affair. The secret storage unit. Marcus's sudden confidence. He had been planning this. They had been planning this. And then Rebecca died, and he saw an opportunity. He did not even wait a month before making his move. My phone buzzed. Text message from an unknown number. Heard you might be stopping by the office. Don't bother. You're not needed anymore. I stared at that message for a long time. Then I smiled. First genuine smile I had had in 3 weeks. Because Marcus had just made a critical mistake. He had shown his hand. Revealed that he was worried about me showing up. Which meant he knew his position was not as secure as he pretended. I typed back 1 word. Monday. His response came fast. Don't waste your time. I did not reply. Did not need to. Monday was 3 days away. That gave me 72 hours to prepare. 72 hours to document everything he had done. 72 hours to build a case that would end him professionally. The personal part, the betrayal, the videos. That pain was mine to carry. But the business part? That was about to become very public and very permanent. I picked up my phone and called my attorney. Nathan Pierce answered on the 2nd ring. I need to see you first thing tomorrow morning, I said. And bring everything we have on corporate governance and shareholder rights. This is going to get complicated. What happened? Nathan asked. I'll explain tomorrow. Just trust me. Monday is going to be interesting. I hung up and looked at the thumb drive sitting on my kitchen table. An unforgettable night. Rebecca got that right. This was going to be unforgettable. Just not in the way she planned. Friday morning. Nathan Pierce's office downtown. I arrived 15 minutes early with the thumb drive, a folder of corporate documents, and a list of every questionable decision Marcus had made in the past 3 weeks. Nathan was already waiting. Coffee ready. Conference room secured. This is why I kept him on retainer. No questions. Just preparation. Walk me through it, he said. I handed him the thumb drive. My wife was having an affair with Marcus Chen for at least 3 years. These are videos she kept. Hotels. Our office. Our house. Nathan's expression did not change. Good lawyers don't react. They process. And Marcus is vice president of operations. No equity. Employee only. He fired me Tuesday. I got a reaction. Nathan's eyebrows went up. He fired you. The majority shareholder. He doesn't know I'm the majority shareholder. Or he's gambling that I won't fight back. I spread out the corporate documents. 71%. Right here. Dated and filed. Rebecca had 29. Marcus has nothing. Nathan studied the documents for 10 minutes. Flipping pages. Checking signatures. Verifying dates. Finally, he leaned back. This is airtight. You own this company. Marcus has no authority to terminate you. None. This is wrongful termination at minimum. Possibly fraud if he's been representing himself as having authority he doesn't possess. What's our move? Emergency board meeting Monday. I'll draft the notice. You have the right to call it as majority shareholder. We'll present your ownership documentation and remove him from any leadership position he's claimed. Nathan paused. But there's a bigger question. Why did he think he could do this? I've been asking myself the same thing. He thought I'd roll over. Grieving widower, too broken to fight. Maybe he figured I'd take a settlement and walk away. Or he thought Rebecca had more equity than she did. That stopped me. What do you mean? Nathan pulled out his tablet and started taking notes. If Marcus and your wife were planning something together, she might have told him she owned more than she did. Or promised him she'd transfer shares. Or maybe they had some side agreement we don't know about. The thought made my hands curl into fists. They were planning to push me out. Possibly. The affair gives them motive. The timing gives them opportunity. Her death just accelerated whatever they had planned. Nathan looked at me carefully. I need to ask. The accident. Has anyone questioned it? No. Police report said brake failure. Mechanical issue. Might be worth a second look. I nodded slowly. That same thought had been circling my brain since yesterday. Let's focus on Monday first. Get Marcus out. Then we'll see what else shakes loose. Nathan spent the next hour drafting the board meeting notice. As majority shareholder, I had the right to call an emergency session. The other board members were Rebecca's brother Daniel, our CFO Sandra, and an independent director named Thomas Walsh. All would receive formal notice by end of business today. What about Marcus? I asked. Does he get notice? He's not on the board. He's an employee. He'll find out when we tell him. Nathan smiled. It was not friendly. Monday morning. 9 o'clock. Conference room. Security should be present. You think he'll make a scene? I think he's been running your company like he owns it for 3 weeks. When you take that away. Yes. He'll make a scene. Good. Let him. Let everyone see exactly who Marcus Chen is when his mask comes off. I spent the rest of Friday documenting everything. Screenshots of unauthorized contracts. Photos of Marcus in Rebecca's old office. Records of the employees he had fired without board approval. By evening, I had a case file 3 inches thick. Saturday morning. My phone rang. Daniel. Rebecca's brother. I had not spoken to him since the funeral. Got a strange email from Nathan Pierce, Daniel said. Emergency board meeting Monday. What's going on? Marcus said everything was under control. Said you were taking time away. Of course Marcus had been managing the narrative. Marcus doesn't speak for me or for the company. That's what Monday is about. Silence on the other end. Then Daniel said, he told me he was acting CEO. Temporary appointment until things stabilized. Who appointed him? More silence. Longer this time. I assumed you did. Or that it was in Rebecca's succession plan. There's no succession plan. And I didn't appoint anyone. Marcus appointed himself. I could practically hear Daniel's gears turning. That's not legal. No. It's not. Which is why we're having this meeting. I need you there Monday. 9 o'clock sharp. I'll be there. He hesitated. Is there something else going on? Something I should know? Not yet. Not until I had all the pieces in place. Monday. I'll explain everything then. Sunday, I went to the office alone. Used my key card. The building was empty. Good. I walked through every floor. Marcus had already started redecorating. New furniture in the CEO office. His nameplate on the door. Photos of him at company events displayed prominently. He had even changed the access codes to certain areas. My own office was exactly as I had left it 3 weeks ago. Except someone had been through my files. Drawers slightly open. Papers out of order. Marcus. Looking for what? Documentation. Proof of ownership. Too late for that now. I sat at my desk. Pulled out my phone. Texted Marcus. See you tomorrow morning. Conference room. 9 o'clock. His response came 5 minutes later. Told you not to waste your time. I'm busy tomorrow. I typed back. It's not optional. This is an official board meeting. You'll want to be there. I'm not on the board. Employee matters are handled through HR now. My jaw tightened. Employee matters. He just classified himself as my superior. Then come as an interested party. Trust me. You don't want to miss this. No response after that. It did not matter. Security would make sure he attended. I had already coordinated with them. I left the office around sunset. Drove home. Ate dinner standing at the kitchen counter. I could not sit at that table anymore. Not after knowing what Rebecca had done. Not after seeing those videos. Tomorrow. Tomorrow I would start taking my life back. Not just the company. My dignity. My self-respect. Everything Marcus thought he could steal from me. I set 3 alarms for Monday morning. Laid out my suit. The dark gray one Rebecca always said made me look intimidating. Perfect. At midnight, I was still awake. Staring at the ceiling. Not from anxiety. From anticipation. Marcus had spent 3 weeks playing king. Tomorrow he would learn the difference between a throne and a borrowed chair. My phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. This is a mistake. Walk away while you still can. I stared at that message. Read it twice. Then I smiled. Marcus was scared. Good. He should be. I did not respond. Responses implied there was a conversation to be had. There was not. Tomorrow was not a negotiation. It was an execution. I finally fell asleep around 2 in the morning. When the alarm went off at 6, I was already awake. Showered. Dressed. Triple-checked my documentation. By 8:30, I was in Nathan's office for final prep. Ready? Nathan asked. I thought about Rebecca. About Marcus. About 3 weeks of being played for a fool. More than ready. Remember. Stay calm. Present facts. Don't let emotion drive the conversation. You're the majority shareholder asserting your rights. Nothing more, nothing less. And if Marcus gets loud, then he gets escorted out. That's what security is for. Nathan gathered his files. Let's go end this. We arrived at the office at 8:45. The board members were already there. Daniel. Sandra. Thomas Walsh. All 3 looked confused. None of them knew what was coming. Marcus walked in at 8:58. Saw me sitting at the head of the table. His face went white. Then red. Then stone. What is this? He demanded. I looked at him without expression. Have a seat, Marcus. This won't take long. Marcus did not sit. He stood there glaring at me like I had broken into his house. I have a meeting with a client in 30 minutes. Whatever this is, make it quick. Cancel it, I said flatly. You don't have authorization to meet with clients. You're not a decision maker in this company. You never were. His jaw tightened. I'm the acting CEO. I have full operational authority. Nathan cleared his throat. Mr. Chen, there's no such thing as acting CEO in this company's bylaws. There's no provision for it. No appointment process. No documentation. Marcus's eyes shifted to Nathan, then to the other board members. Looking for allies. Finding none. Rebecca and I discussed it. Before she passed. She wanted continuity. Leadership. Stability. Interesting, I said. Because Rebecca didn't have the authority to appoint a CEO either. That power rests with the board. And the board answers to the majority shareholder. I slid a document across the table. That would be me. 71% equity. Documented. Filed. Legal. Marcus picked up the paper. His hands were shaking slightly. Not from fear yet. From anger. This doesn't mean anything. Rebecca owned half this company. Her shares transferred to the estate. The estate makes decisions now. Rebecca owned 29%, Nathan interjected. Not 50. The corporate structure has always favored the founder. Which is our client. Not your late colleague. The color drained from Marcus's face. Not all at once. Gradually. Like watching someone realize they had bet everything on the wrong horse. Daniel leaned forward. Marcus, if you thought you had authority here, who told you that? Marcus's mouth opened. Closed. Opened again. Rebecca said the company was 50-50. She said they were equal partners. She lied, I said simply. Check the incorporation documents yourself. It's public record. Always has been. Sandra, our CFO, was already pulling up files on her laptop. She had been quiet until now, but her fingers were flying across the keyboard. Confirmed. Founding documents show 71 and 29% split. Filed 12 years ago. Never amended. Marcus slammed his hand on the table. This is garbage. You people are trying to push me out because you can't handle that I'm better at running this company than either of them ever were. The room went silent. Thomas Walsh, the independent director, spoke for the first time. Mr. Chen, I suggest you choose your next words very carefully. But Marcus was past careful. He was in full defensive mode now. 3 weeks. That's all it took for me to turn this place around. Cut the dead weight. Bring in actual talent. Land new contracts. This company was stagnant under their leadership. I fixed it. You fired 2 employees without board approval, I said. You opened unauthorized vendor contracts. You moved into an office that wasn't yours. You scheduled client meetings you have no authority to attend. That's not fixing anything. That's theft. It's called leadership. It's called fraud. Marcus pointed at me. You've been useless for 3 weeks. Hiding at home. Not answering emails. Not showing up. Someone had to step up. I was grieving my wife. Yeah, well, maybe if you'd paid more attention to your wife, she wouldn't have needed someone else. The room froze. Daniel stood up. What did you just say? Marcus realized his mistake immediately. Tried to backtrack. I didn't mean anything. I'm just saying he wasn't around much. Everyone knew that. But I caught it. That slip. That admission. How would you know what my wife needed, Marcus? I worked with her every day. We were close colleagues. Close colleagues, I repeated. Is that what we're calling it? I pulled out my phone and set it on the table. I found a storage unit Rebecca rented. Didn't know about it until the company sent me a final notice. Inside were boxes. Photos. Receipts. And a thumb drive labeled, An Unforgettable Night. I let that hang in the air. Want to know what was on it? Marcus went completely still. Statue still. I don't know what you're talking about. Conference room 3 after hours. Ring any bells? Or maybe the garage. My garage. While I was inside the house. Daniel looked between us. What is he talking about? 3 years, Marcus. You and my wife. 3 years of meetings. Hotels. Our office. My property. I kept my voice level. Clinical. And then she died. Conveniently. Right before you decided to take over her position. Her office. Her company. That's insane. But his voice cracked. Just slightly. Nathan pulled out a folder. Mr. Chen, we're prepared to present evidence of an inappropriate relationship between you and the deceased CEO. We're also prepared to demonstrate that you've been misrepresenting your authority within this organization for the past 3 weeks. The question is whether we do this privately right now or publicly through legal channels. Marcus looked trapped. Cornered. His eyes darted to the door. Security was standing just outside. He had seen them on the way in. This is blackmail, he said weakly. This is consequences, I corrected. You made a play for my company. You failed. Now you get to decide how messy the exit is. Sandra closed her laptop. For the record, I want it stated that I had no knowledge of any of this. Marcus told me he was acting under board authority. Thomas nodded. Same. He represented himself as having been appointed by Rebecca before her death. Daniel was staring at Marcus with pure disgust. You were sleeping with my sister. Then you tried to steal her husband's company. It wasn't like that. Then what was it like? Daniel's voice was rising. Explain it to me. Make it make sense. Marcus said nothing. There was nothing to say. No version of this story made him look anything other than what he was. I stood up. Here's what happens next. You resign. Effective immediately. You sign a separation agreement that includes a non-compete clause and a confidentiality agreement. You return all company property. You leave this building within the hour. In exchange, we don't pursue legal action for fraud, misrepresentation, or wrongful termination. And if I refuse? Nathan answered that one. Then we file a lawsuit. We present the videos. We depose every employee you've interacted with. We examine every decision you've made. And we make sure your name is attached to corporate fraud in a very public, very permanent way. Your choice. Marcus looked at each person in the room. Looking for sympathy. Finding none. Finally, his shoulders sagged. I want severance. No, I said immediately. 6 months salary. Standard package. You're lucky I'm not having you arrested. Take the deal or don't, but you've got 30 seconds to decide. He stood there. Breathing hard. Fists clenched. Then slowly, he nodded. Fine. Where do I sign? Nathan slid papers across the table. Marcus signed them without reading. Probably a mistake, but not my problem. When he finished, I took the documents back. Security will escort you to your office. You have 15 minutes to pack personal items. Nothing company-related leaves with you. Understood. Marcus did not answer. Just walked to the door. Stopped. Turned back. You think you won. But you didn't. You lost her. You lost everything that mattered. This company is just a building. Then you shouldn't mind leaving it, I said. He left. Security followed. The door closed behind them. The room stayed quiet for a long moment. Then Daniel spoke. I'm sorry. I should have known. Should have seen something. Not your fault. They were careful. I gathered my papers. Sandra, I need a full audit of everything Marcus touched in the last 3 weeks. Contracts. Expenses. Hiring decisions. Everything. I'll have it by end of week. Thomas, I want to discuss long-term governance. Make sure this never happens again. The independent director nodded. Absolutely. I'll draft some proposals. I looked at Nathan. And I want that accident report pulled. Full investigation. Something about this doesn't sit right. Nathan's expression was grim. I'll make calls today. Daniel stood up. You think Marcus had something to do with Rebecca's death? I think the timing is suspicious. I think a lot of things about Marcus are suspicious. And I think we need to know for certain. I headed for the door. Meeting adjourned. Thank you all for coming on short notice. Outside, I watched through the window as Marcus loaded a box into his car. Security standing nearby, making sure he did not try anything stupid. He looked up once. Saw me watching. For a moment, our eyes met. Then he got in his car and drove away. Gone. But not forgotten. Not yet. Nathan appeared beside me. That went smoother than expected. He cracked too easily. Someone that arrogant doesn't fold that fast unless they know something worse is coming. You think he's worried about the accident investigation? I think Marcus Chen is a man with secrets. And secrets have a way of coming out. I turned away from the window. Let's find out what else he's been hiding. The investigation. Tuesday afternoon. Nathan called. We need to meet. Not at the office. That tone meant trouble. I met him at a diner outside town. He had a folder waiting. Police pulled the accident report, Nathan said. The brake lines were cut. Deliberately. Someone wanted that car to crash. I gripped my coffee cup. Certain. State investigator confirmed it. Homicide investigation is open. They want to talk to you Thursday. Rule you out. Nathan slid the folder across. There's more. They recovered deleted messages from Rebecca's phone. Text conversations between Rebecca and Marcus from the week before she died. I opened the folder and started reading. Marcus, we need to accelerate the timeline. He's getting suspicious. Rebecca, he doesn't suspect anything. He never does. Marcus, the audit is coming up. He'll see the discrepancies. Rebecca, then we move before the audit. 3 days before the crash. Marcus, you sure about this? There's no going back. Rebecca, I'm sure. One problem removed. Then we control everything. Marcus's final message came 2 hours before Rebecca died. It's done. No going back now. I closed the folder. Rebecca was not the victim. She was the architect. Marcus had executed her plan. Except he sabotaged the wrong vehicle. Same make. Same model. Same garage. He got confused. Rebecca died by her own design. Do they have enough to arrest him? I asked. They're building the case. Messages. Forensics. Physical evidence. Week or two. Nathan leaned forward. Rebecca was planning your murder. I already knew. Had known the moment I read those messages. How long have you known? Week. Maybe 2. What do they need from me? Alibi. Timeline. Home security footage if you have it. I had cameras on the garage. I pulled up footage from the night before Rebecca died. 2:30 in the morning. Marcus's car in the driveway. A figure in dark clothes. 15 minutes in the garage. Then leaving. He had come to kill me. Got the wrong vehicle. Killed his accomplice instead. I forwarded everything to Nathan. Thursday. Police interview lasted 3 hours. They verified I was not involved. Mr. Chen is our primary suspect, the detective said. We'll arrest him early next week. This will be public. Media attention. Prepare yourself. Let them. I've got nothing to hide. Sandra completed her audit. Marcus had embezzled $70,000 through fake vendor accounts. I filed that with police too. Added charges. Friday night. Unknown number. Marcus's voice. Drunk. This is your fault. If you just let go, none of this would have happened. Let go of what? My company. My life. She deserved better. We deserved that company. You killed her, Marcus. Your mistake. Silence. Heavy breathing. They're coming for me. The police. You could stop this. Tell them it was mechanical failure. I laughed. Why would I do that? Because I loved her. You murdered her while trying to murder me. That's not love. That's psychotic. I didn't mean for her to die. But you meant for me to. Silence. Either way, you're a killer. I looked out at the city. Enjoy your last weekend of freedom. Monday's going to be memorable. I hung up. Blocked the number. Monday morning. Nathan texted. Marcus Chen arrested 1 hour ago. First-degree murder. No bail. I forwarded the message to the board. Then got back to work. 6 months later, the trial began. Marcus looked broken. Thinner. Grayer. He sat in an orange jumpsuit, handcuffed, watching the prosecution destroy him. The evidence was crushing. Deleted messages. Security footage showing him in my garage at 2:30 in the morning. Forensics proving sabotage. Financial records of embezzlement. Witness testimony. The story was clear. Marcus and Rebecca had planned my murder. Marcus had failed. Rebecca had died. He had tried stealing my company anyway. Day 3. My testimony. The prosecutor walked me through the storage unit discovery. The videos. The affair. The corporate coup. Short answers. Factual. Marcus's attorney tried breaking me. You were angry at your wife. Yes. Angry enough to want revenge. Angry enough to want justice. Different things. You gained everything from her death. I gained nothing. I lost who I thought she was. Facts, not gains. Day 7. Marcus testified. Huge mistake. He claimed Rebecca was the mastermind. Said she had pressured him. Said love made him irrational. Then the prosecutor played the recording. A voice message Marcus had left Rebecca 2 days before the crash. Marcus's voice came through the speakers. I've got everything ready. Brake line cutters. Gloves. Wednesday night when he's asleep. Garage side door. 10 minutes in and out. Friday morning. Canyon Road. No guardrails. He'll lose control. The courtroom went silent. The prosecutor asked, "Does that sound reluctant, Mr. Chen?" Marcus said nothing. You planned this. Prepared this. Executed this. When your victim became your lover instead, you tried profiting from your own crime. Correct. I loved her, Marcus whispered. You killed her. Day 9. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. Guilty. Everything. First-degree murder. Conspiracy. Attempted murder. Fraud. Sentencing. Life without parole. The judge was brutal. Mr. Chen, you planned and executed a murder. Your incompetence doesn't reduce your guilt. You then tried profiting from this crime. This court finds your actions calculated, malicious, and remorseless. Marcus looked at me once as they led him away. I stared back. Nothing left to say. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. One statement. Justice was served. Marcus Chen murdered my wife while trying to murder me. He'll pay for that. I'm moving forward. Nathan walked me out. How do you feel? Ready to stop looking backward. I drove to the office. Did not go home. I had moved downtown during the trial. Fresh start. Daniel called. Life without parole. Good. Yeah. Rebecca would have destroyed you. Marcus would have finished it. Instead, you're running the company. Justice served. It did not feel like winning. It felt like surviving. I created a foundation the next month. For people who rebuild after betrayal. People who refuse to let someone else's evil define their future. Marcus lost everything. I kept moving. Kept building. That was victory enough. 2 years later, the company had tripled in size. New contracts. New leadership earned through merit. I sold the house. Bought a place overlooking the river. Clean lines. No history. The foundation grew. Helped 32 people rebuild after betrayal. Watching them move forward settled something in me. Daniel became CFO. Earned it. We never talked about Rebecca. Nothing left to say. Marcus sent letters from prison. I burned them unread. I dated occasionally. Trust takes time. Either way, I was fine. Board meetings ran smooth. No drama. Just business. Exactly what I needed. Sometimes I thought about that storage unit. Finding that thumb drive. If I had ignored it, would Marcus have succeeded? Would I be dead? Probably. But I acted. Fought back. Won. That's the difference. Victims let things happen. Survivors decide what happens next. Marcus chose murder. Rebecca chose betrayal. I chose justice. They lost everything. I built something better. The Foundation's gala was next week. I would speak about resilience. About refusing to let darkness define your path. People would share their survival stories. I would listen. That's what mattered now. Helping people stand back up. Marcus got life in prison. Rebecca got a grave nobody visits. I got tomorrow. Best outcome possible.